Hello, and welcome to this video about using the Conservation Evidence website. Today I'll be talking to you about how to search for relevant information on the website and top tips for finding the information you need. For more background on evidence-based conservation and the Conservation Evidence Project, please see our other videos. Conservation Evidence is a free resource that summarises the evidence for conservation interventions. This information can be found on the online database or in downloadable synopses and annual publications. Today I'll be talking to you about how you can search for information on the website, but a bit of background onto how the information is arranged. Evidence is categorised into synopses. These are grouped by taxonomic group or habitat type. So for example, amphibians, bats, bees, or forest, peatland and farmland. To date, there's 21 synopses available, and by 2024, all habitat types and species groups will have been covered. Synopses will then be updated to include the most relevant and available evidence. Evidence is gathered using a method called subject-wide evidence synthesis. This diagram shows the process of how this works. Firstly, we form an advisory board which consists of an international group of conservationists and academics. They create a protocol for undertaking the synthesis, which is reviewed by the advisory board and published online. Consulting with the advisory board and more widely, we agree a list of interventions around which the literature will be synthesised. Then we review the literature. This might come from the existing database, specialist journals, grey literature, and systematic reviews. Synopsis is then compiled, so studies are summarised and then reviewed by advisors. And finally, we publish this and publicise them both online and in print. To date, in 2021, we have systematically searched journals and scanned over 1.5 million papers. This includes 382 English journals, 327 non-English language journals in 16 languages, and several report series have also been searched. In this next part of the video, I'm going to show you how to navigate around the homepage of the Conservation Evidence website before moving on to explore the information included further. To reach the Conservation Evidence website, you need to go to www.conservationevidence.com. Once there, you'll find this homepage. If at any point when you're exploring the site you wish to get back to the homepage, you can simply click the logo in the top left-hand corner. Now I'll just run through with you some things you can find on the homepage before going into the kind of evidence that you can find on the site. Across the top banner here, you'll find 3 tabs: Studies, Actions and Synopses, that help you explore the evidence in the database. I'll go through these in more details in just a moment. Up at the top here, we have a tab that takes you to a page describing how we assess the evidence. Here you can find information on what works in conservation and the expert assessment scores that you find on action pages. We also have a tab that describes the background to conservation evidence, information about the team, any additional outputs that we produce, and how we're funded. The Help button takes you to our Frequently Asked Questions page, where you can find help and support in understanding the background to the project, how to use the website, and more. A Google Translate bar allows you to translate the website into multiple languages. And finally, there's a button that takes you to the Conservation Evidence Journal page. Please see our separate video on the Conservation Evidence Journal, for more information about this. Below the banner, we have the main search bar for the website. Here is where you will search for actions, species, and other things, but I'll go into that in more detail later. As we go down the page, there's more tabs to search for studies, actions, and synopses. And you can also browse by category, so by species, habitat, and sustainable production. Again, you can access what works in conservation here, and also get to the journal page as well. If you're interested in connecting further with conservation evidence, you can find our social media accounts and also our blog towards the bottom of the page. Finally, you can find information on our partnership programme and those who use conservation evidence in their work. If you're interested in finding out more, you can watch our Evidence Champions video that's also available. Now that you've seen what's available on the homepage, I'm going to go into more detail about how you'll use the search function on the website. One way to find information on the Conservation Evidence website is to search for things you are specifically interested in. This might be an action, such as creating a pond, or a species, such as great crested newt, or other keywords, such as create, restore, and things like that. It's important to bear in mind that this search function does not work like Google. You cannot type in whole sentences, but instead you should search by keywords. So for example, for pond creation, simply type in pond and enter. This will find the actions related to the word pond. You'll see that there's 155 actions, and they'll be listed on this page. You can then refine these searches by the specific things you might be interested in. Over on the left-hand side here, you can search by category. So this is species group or habitat type. Habitat, the threat that you are interested in, the action type, and country. So for example, if we are interested in creating ponds for amphibians, we could refine our results here. And you see that we now have 72 actions found. You might also decide to search by species. For example, golden eagle. Here, 8 actions have been found that have been tagged with the word golden eagle. You may want to just be searching more broadly. If you're thinking of a restoration project, you could type in the word restore and see that we have 620 actions available for this word. When you're using the search function, if you come up with no actions as a result of your search, try and think of synonyms for the words that you're using and try again. Also check if the synopsis is available. For example, reptiles is not yet published in summer 2021, but should be available by winter 2021. So do come back and check at a later date. You can also search for studies instead of actions by clicking on the Studies tab. Here, if we type in pond again, you'll see that there are 220 studies found for the word pond. Searching the database for your keyword or species is a good way of finding information if you know specifically what you want to do. However, if you're not entirely sure what actions are available or which action you wish to undertake, you may choose to browse the database instead. Here I'll show you the easiest ways to browse the database. As I mentioned earlier, there are a couple of different ways you can browse the database. You can use the 3 tabs at the top, the 3 tabs below the search bar, or the categories. If you wanted to browse all the available studies on the website, simply click the Studies tabs. You can then use the Refine function on the left-hand side of the page to filter down to studies most relevant to you. It's the same on the Actions tab. Find all of the actions and then Refine on the left-hand side. If you know that you're interested specifically in information on primates, you could just browse the actions available for primates. And the same for habitats and sustainable production methods. You could also go on the synopses pages. Here you'll be able to view individual synopses online, download them as a PDF, view them as a PDF, and in some instances buy them online. However, they are available for free. Here you can see all of the synopses that are currently available. And you can also see previous editions of synopses. If you're interested in finding out which synopses will be available soon, view the protocol page. This will tell you which synopses are currently underway. Now you have more of an understanding of how to search for information on the database. I'm going to go through what is available on the action pages to show you how you can use that information in your decision making. I'm going to use the example of creating ponds to show you more information on the action pages. After your search, you'll receive this list of actions found for that particular search. This list contains the action name, the effectiveness category that action has been assigned, the number of studies found for that action, and the category into which it falls, in this case, amphibians. You can order the results by number of studies, relevance, and title. To go on an action page, click the action name. At the top of the page, you'll find the same information again. Below this, we have background information and definitions for that action. And next to this, we have a map of source countries. These are the countries in which the studies have been conducted. For this particular action, you'll see that the majority of studies come from Europe and North America, with only one study coming from Oceania. This might be important for you to bear in mind if you're making a decision using this action. This evidence might be more relevant to you if you're based in Europe than if you're based in South America, from which we have no information. Below this, we have our key messages section. Key messages are there to provide a descriptive index to studies we have found that test this intervention. Key messages tell you things such as the number of studies that investigated a specific metric and what they found. It's really important that you don't use key messages to simply vote count how good that action is. This is because studies are not directly comparable or of equal value. When making decisions based on this evidence, you need to consider other factors. This includes study design, study size, the metrics reported, and the relevance of the study to your situation. All of this information is summarised in key messages. Below the key messages, you'll find supporting evidence from individual studies. This is a brief summary for each of those 30 studies found for this action. As you can see, each study has its own summary. At the end of the page, you'll find a Related Actions section. Here you will be able to find actions that you may also want to explore in your decision making. This might be because creating ponds for green toads is more specific, or looking for an alternative that you had not thought of. Thank you for watching this introductory video on how to use the Conservation Evidence website. Just to remind you, here are some top tips when using the website. Firstly, keep your searches simple. If you're interested in understanding whether creating ponds increases amphibian numbers, just simply type the word pond and not the whole question. If you cannot find any actions for the word you're using, try thinking of similar words and synonyms and search again. If you still can't find any actions, check that the synopsis is available. We have not yet covered all species groups and habitats, but by 2024 we will have done so. Check the synopsis pages to see what is currently available and when new synopses will be ready. Once you've found the information you need, remember to read the information carefully. Do not simply vote count how many studies said the action had a positive effect or not. You need to consider the study design, sample size, and its relevance to your situation when using this evidence in your decision making. You can find more information about how to do this in our video on decision making and the tool we have available. Finally, if you have any further questions or suggestions, feel free to get in touch. And remember, we have other videos and an FAQ page to help you as well. Thank you for watching.